Hari Om. We'll start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are analyzing the response to the question by the teacher, where the question was essentially, how can the Anadi Avidya, the beginningless ignorance, and associated the products of the beginningless ignorance, that includes the body, mind, intellect, the Mano Jnanamaya Kosha, and both are beginningless, and therefore Jivatma Bhavana is also beginningless, and therefore that which is beginningless cannot end. And here says there is a possibility for this is not a real. If it is a real beginningless, then real beginningless cannot be ended. But this is only Bhranti, a delusion. Delusion can end by proper understanding it. So he gives different examples. The superimposition is not real of the world on the Brahman. In the same way, of Jivahood is also not real, because I am taking what I am not as I am. If I know what I am, then I don't take it anymore. So therefore this is called Bhranti. So false notion that I am, this is a false notion. False notion can be removed by right understanding. And that's what is being discussed, and therefore the question of the student is not really valid or applicable. We'll now the sloka 200 and 201 together of the Viveka Chudamani. Anaditvam avidyayam karyasya pita deshyate utpannayam tu vidyayam avidyakamanadyapi prabodhe swapnavat sarvam sahamula vinasyati anadyapidam no nityam ragabhava ivasputam anaderapi vidvamsaha ragabhavasya vikshataha. So here these are slokas 200 and 201 of the Viveka Chudamani. This is all response to the student's question. He says Anaditvam avidyayaha. So the Anaditvam of the avidya, the beginningless of the ignorance, and karyasyapi, and its products. So the avidya is responsible for all the creation, and therefore this Anadi Avidya, the beginningless ignorance of I don't know who I am, because there cannot be beginning for avidya. Because beginning for avidya cannot be possible, and it's always a beginningless. When do I do not know that I don't know chemistry? Since when I do not know chemistry? From the beginning I don't know. That means there was no beginning for the starting of the avidya. But lack of knowledge of avidya can end by knowing avidya. So all avidyas can be ended by proper knowledge, even though it is beginningless. And that's what being emphasized here. And not only avidya, bhavidya janita, the karyam, the products that are coming out because of the avidya. If I don't know it is a rope, and I am projecting where is a snake, the snake there, and how does the snake end when I see rope as a rope? Then what happens to the snake? There was never a snake to start with. Snake is only my imagination, and the imagination is a Bhranti, and that gets deluded by seeing it. How about the Jagat? So you have to be careful here. So when the jnani sees the world is not real, but I am the totality, I am that pure existent consciousness which is limitless, then what happens to the world? Remember, the world is created by the Ishvara. Ishvara Srushti is there, but there is no Bhranti. Bhranti means, what is Bhranti? Is delusion as the plurality, taking the plurality as reality is the delusion. Now Jnani will do, he perceives the body-mind, through body-mind intellect, the other bodies or all objects, but he will not take it as reality, and it's only my own projection, you can say, or projection of the Ishvara also. Even though Ishvara himself is now understood, it is my own self, the totality reflected in the Maya is Ishvara, and that also he understood. So Jnani does see the plurality, but he does not have the notion that it is real, because now he understood that it is only a projection, and therefore the avarana is gone, only the vikshepa is remaining, and that will remain as long as the body, mind and intellect, which is a product of that, remains. When the body, mind, intellect drops out, there is no vikshepa also. Here he is giving an example of the dream example here, and that's why we have to be careful in terms of analysis of the dream versus the waking state here. So anaditvam of avidya, the beginningless of the avidya and its product karyasyapi tadeshyate is said like utpannayam, that's born out of avidya, is the utpannayam tu vidyayam avidyakam anadyapi. So the beginningless is gone with vidya by the knowledge. Even avidya is anadyapi, even though it is beginningless, by the utpanna, by the birth of the knowledge, it can be eliminated. So even though the darkness in the cave is beginningless there, but once I light a candle, even though the beginningless darkness that has been there disappears in no, once I light the candle there. So lighting the candle is a prakriya. That means I have to do it, but once the light is there, the light automatically it shines. Therefore, the darkness automatically goes away, and that is essentially without phala-vyaptim. Phala-vyapti is there is nothing to result or something, but it is spontaneously natural. There cannot be vidya and avidya. Light and darkness together cannot be there. So therefore, it is utpannayam tu vidyayam avidyakam anadyapi. So even though it is beginningless, vidyayam utpannayam, when the knowledge rises in the mind, how does knowledge rise? I had to make an effort to study, but the knowledge is not Purusha Tantram, it is Vastu Tantram. That means I had to make an effort in terms of the study wise, but the goddess Saraswati has to descend to me. She will come provided my mind is ready or conducive to absorb the knowledge. This is true even for objective knowledge. I prepare my mind and listen to the teacher, and the prepared mind, or with all the prerequisites, when I listen, knowledge will come. If I don't have the prerequisite, teacher may give you exhaustive lecture, nothing will happen to me. So I should have the mind prepared, and even prepared mind, if I am not attentive in the class and mind is somewhere else, then also knowledge will not take place. So Shraddha is required. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. And what is the Shraddha? Shastrasya, Guru Vakyasya, Satya Buddhyavadarana. What Shastra and interpretation of the Shastra by the teacher is indeed true. That Shraddha has to be there for knowledge to take place. And when the knowledge arises, the avidya gets eliminated. And here he gives you example, Prabodhe swapnavat sarvam sahamula vinasyati. So when one is awakened from the dream to a waking state, all the whole world disappears. Therefore, there is no more delusion that whatever the tiger and all that I saw in the dream and I was afraid of it, I was running around. In the process, I jumped and fell down, and I fell down from the bed, and I got up and realized that there is no tiger, there is no forest. All that is only a dream. So for me, everything is gone. So Prabodhe, once I'm awakened, swapnavat, just as the swapna, just as the dream, sarvam sahamula vinasyati, everything including the roots are gone. So there is no world, there is no forest, there is no trees, and there is rivers, there is no lion or tiger that is chasing me. All that is gone. And therefore, this is just like that. This example is used for people to misunderstand that once the jnanam comes, they cannot perceive anymore the world. Just as when I am awakened, according to the example, when I am awakened to the waking state, I will not see anymore the dream world. So therefore, same way, a realized master will not see the world. But the people think that he is seeing through the BMI, but he is not there. So this has to be understood clearly. Here, in the case of a dream example, one has to be careful. As long as the body, mind and intellect of the dream body is there, dream world is there. He awakened means he has no more the dream body, and therefore he is now associating with the waker's body. Therefore there is no dream world. And here in the waking state, I can develop the viveka while in the waking state and recognize that I am Brahman while still in the state, and that's what is called Jivan Mukta. So Jivan Mukta knows that there is no real world, knows that everything is only projection, and still sees through the local BMI the world around, and sees that its seeing is also known, and even it transacts with the local world as though it is separate from the rest of the world, as long as the body, mind and intellect of the waking world is there, the plurality is there, perception of the plurality by the BMI is there. But the perception of the plurality is not taken as a reality by that body, by that intellect, because that intellect knows that it is not the real. Because it is intellect that has the wrong notions, it is the intellect that has to give the right notions. In the case of a dream, intellect does not have capacity to do the discriminative intellect, therefore it cannot gain the knowledge of unreality of the dream world. I had to come into the waking state, because that viveka cannot be developed, because the will to do it is not there. That's called free will is not there in the dream state, but the free will is there in the waking state. Free will comes with the waking buddhi, which has a discriminative faculty, and the body associated with it. All are important in analysis. So therefore we have to be very careful. It says Prabodhe swapnavatu sarvam sahamula vinasyati. So waking up here, waking up Vibodhe means by having the bodhana, prakarshena bodha. So having a clear understanding of that, sarvam, all delusionary understanding of the reality that I superimposed on the plurality is not there. So now I understand it is mithya. So Advaita is Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. So understanding that is not really real, even though I am experiencing it, that's why it is Mithya. Mithya means I am experiencing, therefore it is not unreal, since it's not really real, because from our point, reality is that which remains the same all periods of time. And since it's continuously changing, it's not real, at the same time it's not unreal, and Sadasat Vilakshanam. Sat, Asat, Vilakshanam. It's different from Sat, it's different from Asat, it's different from reality, it's different from non-reality. It is apparently real. That apparently real is taken as really real because of the Bhranti. And the Bhranti alone will go, and now apparently real is understood is only apparent but not really real. That has to be understood here. So, Prabodhi Swapnavatu Sarvam Sahamula Vinasyati Anadyapi Idam. So, Anadi Api Idam Na Nityam. So, therefore, Nityatvam is important for Nityatvam means eternality, unchanging nature has to be there for being a Satyam. But therefore, even though the Anadi, Avidya, Idam, Anidya, and the ignorance and ignorance generated all the Bhranti or the is not Nityam. Pragabhava ivasputam anaderapi vidvamsaha pragabhavasya vikshataha. Here the Shankaracharya is taking an example of Pragabhava. It is from the point of Nayayikas, Nayavaiseshikas or Nyayas theory. According to them, this is a Pragabhavam. Pragabhavam means Prag means before, abhava means non-existence. Non-existence was there for any object before. That's what implication is. What is an object? We discussed this a little bit. It says Pragabhava Pratiyogini is what is called an object. Object means object has come into existence at some point. Prag Abhava. Before that, there is no object. And therefore, non-existence, that means which is Anadi. So, Prag Abhava means since when it is non-existent, it was not there before at all, any time. Not that it was before and then disappeared, again it appeared. So, the product or the object was not there before, and non-existence of the object was Anadi, beginningless. So, non-existence of the object which is beginningless has ended once the object is formed, and that's what example here is given. So even though it is Anadi, it forms by the formation or by the creation. Therefore, even though Anadi Api, that Pragabhavam, that means absence of existence of any object before it was there, even though it is there, when the object has formed, then that absence of the existence ended. So Pragabhavam has ended now. Therefore, object itself is defined as Pragabhava Pratiyogini, counter to its absence in the past. Is a definition of an object also. So that is example here. Even though Anadi Api, even though it is beginningless, the absence of the object is beginningless. By its presence now, that absence of its existence has been ended. And that's what is the example here. This Pragabhava Ivasputam Anaderapi Vidvamsaha Pragabhavasya Vikshataha. So one says that non-existence of an object is ended by the presence of the object, and therefore even though it is beginningless, that is Vidvamsa, the non-existence is destroyed. That means by presence of the existence of an object in that form. But from the pure point of existence, which is Satchidananda Swarupam, you cannot say there was a time where it was not there before. It's not a Pragabhavam from the point of consciousness or existent Brahman, because there cannot be a time where existence was not existing. In fact, that's what the Chandogya Upanishad says in the Sadvidya. It says Sadeva Saumya Vidavagramasid Ekameva Advitiyam. Existence alone was there before creation. When did the existence came into picture? It is eternally was there all the time. And in fact, it criticizes a counter theory, says what was there before creation is non-existence. Tadaika ahu asateva namagram asid kathams. How can it be possible that there was a non-existence before and now the existence came into picture? say, how can no existence come from a non-existence? Because nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. Krishna says that that which is non-existent can never come into existence. That which is existent can never ceases its existence. Therefore, that which is non-existent can never come. So what was there before? The Sat is also anadi, but it is real, and therefore it continues, and the knowledge is of the nature of knowledge itself. Whereas the other one we are talking about, avidya is not of that, ontologically it's not of the nature of the pure consciousness. And even avidya is also known only. I know that I do not know. Therefore, avidya is also knowable entity as far as from the conscious point. It's not opposite to consciousness. And what is eliminated is only the vyavaharika avidya. It's only avidya is only at the level of transactional level which can be eliminated. Therefore, avidya api, anadi api, anadya api idam no nityam. So it's not a nityam, it is not real. Praga bhava yasputam. So it's as clear just as the absence of previous existence, that's called prabhavavam. So anaderapi vidvamsaha praga bhavasya vikshataha. So even though absence of an object from the beginning is there, by its presence, the absence of the object is destroyed by its presence, and that's what is called praga bhava pratiyogini. Is called an object. And that's what is being discussed here, and we further continues in response to the teacher, the question to the student, and we will take up that in the next talk. With this we'll stop. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.